Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. We are available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire, and of course YouTube and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. And this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
And Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBT plus community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Well, let's begin by welcoming anchor chef Josie. She is a Bravo TV top chef and the master of the popular champagne and oyster celebration restaurant Bubbles and Pearls on the heart of the famous Wilton Drive. She is also known by her alter ego, DJ Lady Snack Daddy. Welcome, Chef Josie.
Hey, thanks, Al. Well, you know, just a little surprise. We've been working on something, and Lady Snack Daddy is going to be heading out on Saturday for a new lesbian, actually, this is a queer party at the new spot in, I guess it's called Middle River. So it's like our neighboring city. And it's fantastic. It's called Deck on 13, and it's lesbian owned. There's a taco truck in the back, and there's going to be a speed friending or something. There'll be drag shows. There'll be myself and DJ Zeno on the ones and twos. And we're really looking forward to bringing the community together and building bridges between the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, and the plus. So come out this Saturday and we'll see you there.
We can always use more representation from the girls in our community.
And tacos.
Absolutely.
And tacos.
Wait, what?
doesn't love
Yeah. Well, next, let's welcome our anchor, Buddy Frey. Buddy is a longtime South Florida resident. He enjoys our large, diverse community and supports many of our local nonprofit organizations like Julian's Fountain of Youth and the Stonewall National Library Museum. Welcome, Buddy.
Well, thank you. Now let's welcome anchor Dave Mann. Dave is a singing pianist and composer from New York City, currently living in Wilton Manors, where he is known as the Piano Man. Dave has performed in piano bars all over the United States and Europe, theme parks, most major cruise lines, and has appeared in multiple films. You can find his live and virtual show dates on pianoman.com. It's Dave with two N's. Dave has also been a member of the Fort Lauderdale Leather community for many years, was in South Florida Boys of Leather. Let's welcome Dave.
Thank you. So just to let everyone know, I'm playing tomorrow night at the Marriott in Dania Point, and it's a smart hotel. So there are actually robot servers that come around and serve you. Kid you not. And
What time's your show?
6 o'clock. Yeah. So come over there and request a song. Okay, so let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee of the Chicago LGBTQ Hall of Fame. Gregg is an author of 8 books, including his latest, Fear of the Muses, an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and music reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ+ and mainstream publications and websites. His movie review column called Screensaver can be found in South Florida Gay News, San Francisco's Bay Area Reporter, RottenTomatoes.com, and more. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the Queer News for today, Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Happy National Bald is Beautiful Day.
Child.
Not me, not me. I'm just bald. No, it's serious. I'm just bald, not beautiful.
Yeah.
You're both.
Yeah, you're both. All right, let's begin by clearing up entertainment. And of course, we know what the topic is. RuPaul's Drag Race Emmy-winning streak broken by Lizzo's Big Girls.
What's up, y'all? It's Lizzo. I'm looking for dancers to join me on my tour. Girls that look like me don't get representation. Time to pull up my sleeves and find them myself. We thick and we pretty and we know what we about. It's the battle of the big girls.
To be a background dancer for Lizzo would just mean everything. It's showtime.
Hey, ladies! What do we have in store? This is the fun part.
I'm always doubting myself, and I feel like that has been detrimental in how I approach dance. I'm realizing that I do deserve a spot on that stage.
It's hard to love yourself in a world that doesn't love you back. You were created specially in your image for you to enjoy. You don't have to be light-skinned. You don't have to be skinny. You're just beautiful the way you are.
I need to challenge myself and step outside my comfort zone.
Now I'm going into competition mode.
Some people are not at the same level that I am.
I'm gonna call you Lil Sis.
She's trying to demean me. She's not understanding how to read the room.
Oh. You might not make it into the show.
I see a lot of potential, but this is not the time for potential.
Okay.
There's more than just one image of beauty.
It's about to get real. It's time to show the world how we do it. Watch out for the big girls. Patiently, quietly.
Lizzo warned us to watch out for the big girls. Up until 2022, RuPaul's Drag Race and The Voice were tied with 4 Emmy Award wins each in the Outstanding Competition Program category. During this year's Emmys Award, Drag Race had a chance to break that tie with The Voice, but lost the award to Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls. This was Lizzo's first ever nomination, and she has secured her first win. An original series from Amazon Prime Video, Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls, followed a cast of female dancers who auditioned to work with the pop star. Lizzo is a 3-time Grammy winner and is now also an Emmy winner. She is halfway there on her journey to EGOT. This latest Emmy Award evaluated season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race, which was concluded with the crowning of Willow Pill as America's next drag superstar at the show's Las Vegas finale. Pill and most of her co-stars were present at the Emmys 2022 ceremony in Los Angeles last night, along with RuPaul, Michelle Visage, and Carson Kressley. VH1 has already renewed RuPaul's Drag Race for its 15th season, and Paramount Plus has already picked up season 8 of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars. Both seasons are scheduled to air next year.
I want to say thank you to the Emmys and the Emmys voters. First of all, I'm very emotional. And the trophy is nice, but my emotion is for these people who are on this stage with me. The stories that they shared, they're not that unique. They just don't get the platform. Telling stories. Let's just tell more stories. When I was a little girl, all I wanted to see was me in the media. Someone fat like me, black like me, beautiful like me. If I could go back and tell little Lizzo something, I'd be like, you gonna see that person, but bitch, it's gonna have to be you. Where are my big girls? Are they here? Come! Come! 1 year ago, these women were filming this television show that would change their lives forever. They are Emmy award-winning superstars who are going on a world tour. Make some noise for my big girls. I love you guys so much. Danny, I love you. Oh my God. God bless y'all. This is for the big girls. L-I-C-C-O-P-I-G-G-G-R-L-S. We the best. Hey, thank you so much.
Well, I know the LGBTQ community is saddened a bit from this streak that was broken last night, but we're really not that sad because of who won. You know what's interesting to me in reality, in the reality Emmy, I'm a mega Amazing Race fan. I very much imagine Josie is a mega fan for Top Chef, Survivor. Those were the shows that dominated the Emmys for really right since its inception in the late 90s for this competition. And then RuPaul really reinvents. World of Wonder and RuPaul's Drag Race reinvents because it focuses on representation, and drag queens and LGBT and the story of our community was the representation. Who would dream that what would break the representation of drag queens would be big girls? And that became the giant killer. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I am sure lots of people connected with RuPaul's Drag Race, while sad, they're still celebrating because it is another extension of representation that is great, great, great for all of us that love and embrace diversity, because that's what we just watched.
This is certainly a crushing blow for Ru, but I hope this doesn't jeopardize Lizzo's chances of being invited back to Drag Race as a guest judge for the third time. She's already been on twice, so.
Well, any chance to expand diversity is a win to me.
Yeah, and it's
well, that would be shade, okay? And then I would jump on the cancel Ru campaign. But I'm really excited because there's lots of wins, like you said. You know, there's so many wins here. Obviously, RuPaul's been holding it down for so long, and I want to give my nod and shake again for another nomination for my Top Chef family. We recently
it's a great show.
Yeah, and we recently lost someone who was a big part of our production, and so we're, you know, as a community, I'm pretty certain that even the nomination is a great thing. But man, hands down, like, tits up, as they say, okay, to Lizzo and her big girls.
She's on fire,
because really, it's true, you know. And just so you know, Lizzo, I'm gonna look at you right now, okay? Call me, because I got stats for you. I got all kinds of recruits. I could be your personal recruiter.
Wow. You got personal chef.
Yeah. Hang out, okay?
Yeah, but this just proves that there's room for everybody on the stage.
Yeah.
I want to see a big boys show. I mean, I want to see something that isn't just the standard, this is gay America. I want to see the variety out there, you know? And this just proves that there's more room on the stage.
She had me in the first seconds. I watched the show. I watched every second of this show. I said to several friends, you've got to watch Lizzo's show because it is so good. Because take out drag queen, put in big, beautiful dancer. It's the same concept. It's the exact same concept in a different way, and it was so good. And I was saying to my friends, you got to watch this. You got to watch this.
But it's just a human story. We all have the same feelings. We all have the same stories.
And that's what she said. Tell these stories.
Tell the story.
Yeah.
You know, one other thing that I think is interesting. You know, we showed her acceptance speech. Did y'all watch the Emmys last night? Did you see this moment?
Parts.
Okay. So I won't pressure any of y'all to absolutely come out on that limb. Of course, I watched every second of that. You know, one of the things that I do want to shout out that I think is absolutely awesome, if you go back and watch that, I don't know if you probably would not notice it at the time. Most viewers probably didn't notice it. RuPaul's Drag Race was the next table over from Lizzo. So they're focusing on Lizzo, and you can see over Lizzo's shoulder RuPaul and Michelle Visage. And they announce, and Lizzo wins, and Lizzo is shocked, because I really think that moment was sincere. She was shocked, because everyone thought that RuPaul was going to win it again. And the first person that stands up is Michelle Visage.
Oh, good for her.
Good for her. It just says who she is.
Female empowerment.
Was there any
Exactly. That's exactly right.
No
diversity represented instantaneously. You know, there's enough for everyone to take victory at this moment for the Emmys. Lizzo, big girls, those dancers, RuPaul, Michelle Visage, World of Wonder, Drag Race, everyone won.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah. Well, next up, let's queer up politics. 400 GOP leaders call on Senate to pass same-sex marriage. Over 400 Republican leaders from across the country, including present and former GOP lawmakers from the last 2 decades, are calling on the Senate to pass legislation that enshrines same-sex marriage protections. The letter said that passing the Respect for Marriage Act will eliminate uncertainties for over 1 million Americans who are building families, taking on the responsibilities and commitment concerning marriage, and caring for the one they love. Beyond appealing to enshrine the right to same-sex marriage, the push from prominent GOP leaders signals how critical Republicans consider the forthcoming vote on same-sex marriage to be. The letter also mentioned that Republican and conservative leaders believe in strong families and lasting relationships as they strengthen communities. They added that civil marriage is fundamental freedom central to individual liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and hence they are standing with 71% of Americans today to support the freedom to marry for all Americans. In the wake of the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade, many Republican strategists think that sinking a bill that would enshrine Obergefell versus Hodges, the 2015 Supreme Court decision, would result in a devastating blow on Election Day. As a married LGBTQ person here, and hearing the recent overturning of the Roe versus Wade decision, and then hearing Clarence Thomas say that we should revisit same-sex marriage and a few other things, this immediately sent shivers through my spine, and it scared me for many reasons. You know, I've been in hospitals with the people who I love, who I've been in long-term relationships with, and been asked to leave as they sat there crying in pain. I can't even imagine how anyone would consider anyone who has taken the vow to be and commit in a relationship, in a loving relationship, how they would even consider overturning that. So I'm happy to see that it did get the support in the House, and I'm concerned in the Senate. You know, I'm going to cross my fingers, and I'm going to hope the conscience.
Josie, I have to ask you, and just in a bit of a subject change, the Roe overturn, was that a big sentinel moment for you as a woman, as a lesbian in our community, of the galvanizing issue that we're facing? Was Roe it? Did it?
I mean, it definitely, again, it sent the shockwaves, because that was something that in my lifetime I would never have expected, almost like, you know, electing a black president, okay? But Roe versus Wade has seemed through my entire life that it would be untouched, and that our
established precedent.
Our sovereignty over our bodies, right? That as a woman, we wouldn't be fighting that fight anymore. Right. And what it did is it minimized us as a human being. And it took all the progress of women in this country, in society, and it felt like it gave us a gut punch.
I ask you that question because I think that the intersection of the two issues is so interesting, because women are the majority of America. And this directly hits at women, whether you support abortion or not. It directly hits at the critical issue that men, especially white men, are making the decision over women's bodies and their health care, and how sentinel that is for the majority of Americans, which are women, and a similar situation in the LGBTQ community of the civility of our rights to marry who we love. There's an interesting intersection here that seems to be growing and galvanizing our political response of, at what point is enough enough?
The hypocrisy of a judge that's married to a white woman, that is saying the next thing is same-sex marriage, overturning it, right? When the Obergefell was based upon the interracial marriage decision. So it's hypocrisy incarnate, you know?
I'm curious, 400 GOP leaders do this and sign on to this. Why did they do that? Why do you think that they're doing this?
Well, to show that there's another side to them, that there are, you know, civilized and reasonable people in that party. I mean, we have yet to see them. I mean, today, despicable virgin Lindsey Graham, Aunt Pity Pat to her friends and enemies, has her petticoats in a twist over abortion. So, like a national ban on abortion. So I mean, there's our enemy right there, the Republican enemy.
I don't think the politicians care about these issues at all. They use it as an issue to deflect while they rob people blind. I mean,
but also the female population and the power of the female vote is growing at such exponential rates. The fact that Roe versus Wade didn't fail but was taken away, suddenly now women, regardless of what party you want to be claimed on, is suddenly now registering to vote at record numbers.
Women twice as much.
And I think the biggest support for gay marriage, if it's not in your family personally, is women, because they understand and they recognize the difficulty of gay marriage, because gay marriage, the act also protected civil marriages.
Oh, Civil Rights Act. I thought that when we got marriage equality, that we were included in the Civil Rights Act, that it was in...
Well, we've been told that story, and that's a story that's been told over.
Well, you know, and now when you talk about why did those 400 Republicans jump on board, well, I think you and I both have noticed and seen that there is a conservative LGBTQ movement, and at some point they have to throw them a bone too, and they're going to need to empower that voice, because they're the ones leading the charge against some of the stories we'll be reporting on later tonight. But the reality of it is that this is just more politics. This is just more politics. I would love to believe that 400 GOP had a moment of consciousness and they voted their conscience, but I have a hard time believing that, considering the last few years.
You know, before we move on, I just make two observations that relate to that, and is why I ask you the question. First off, this is a partial return of what the GOP really is all about. Stay out of your private lives, small government philosophy. We think in the last 5 or 6 years, for sure, with Trump coming to power and Trumpisms and MAGA Republicans, the GOP was killed. This is kind of an indication, wait, they're still out there.
There's a heartbeat there.
There is a heartbeat. The second thing that's interesting about the so many GOP leaders, past and present, that have come out and said this, is they're doing it to ring an alarm bell in the Senate. And they're doing it because approximately 16 U.S. senators that are Republican are running for re-election. And some of those states, Murkowski has come out for a specific reason. Maine has come out for a specific reason. Ron Johnson in Wisconsin is flip-flopping, but for a very specific reason. Not because he cares one damn bit about our gay marriage, but because he worries about his re-election and what women are going to do in Wisconsin.
Well, it's the power of the female vote.
They overreached, and Kansas said, here we go.
Yeah,
we're not going to accept this.
And that's what these 400 leaders are doing. They're saying, wait, you better be voting for this, because if you don't, Schumer's going to checkmate some of you and pull you out on that limb, and when he does, he's going to get your head chopped off.
And we're going to retain power.
That's what they're warning here, which is really interesting.
Well, it's time to queer up entertainment. The GOP meltdown over Peppa Pig introducing same-sex parents.
I'm Penny Polar Bear. I live with my mummy and my other mummy. One mummy is a doctor and one mummy cooks spaghetti. I love spaghetti.
Lovely, Penny. And Freddy Fox?
The British preschool animated television series Peppa Pig has received praise from everyone except conservatives for responding to calls for more LGBTQ+ characters on the show. The show, which is loved by young children for more than 18 years, has recently aired an episode titled Families, in which Peppa's classmate Penny Polar Bear talks about her two mothers. Including a loving lesbian couple is a win for LGBTQ+ rights advocates who have been campaigning for more representation in film and television. In 2019, the advocates of the LGBTQ+ community launched a petition calling on Peppa Pig's writers to include a family, same-sex parents, to make the show more inclusive for all children. But the episode has witnessed the ire of conservatives who have denounced the move, fueling the groomer hysteria they've used in recent months to disregard LGBTQ+ people. The conservatives have been accusing the LGBTQ+ community members of building relationships, trust, and emotional connections with children so that they can manipulate, exploit, and abuse them. But Peppa Pig is only one of the children's entertainment characters conservatives have targeted. Last year, Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz attacked Sesame Street after Big Bird, a famous Muppet character, announced on Twitter he'd been vaccinated against COVID-19. Cruz called it evidence of government propaganda for 5-year-old children. Good Lord. I don't know where to start with that.
Well, you've got to love the progressive pork on Peppa Pig. You really do. And in terms of this conservative reaction, it's clearly a case of throwing pearls before swine.
He's been waiting to say that.
And he takes a bow.
I curtsy, but I'm sitting.
I give you one for that. Okay.
I mean, Ted Cruz, anytime he seems to open his mouth lately, he just is an embarrassment. But, you know.
They have no policies for working people.
No.
That's how they have nothing to talk about but this woke this and groomer that. That's all they have.
But listen, when you start naming the pigs in a show in a show that's been running for 18 years because mom is a doctor and their other mom is cooks spaghetti, and then you think about the pageantry. I think Donald Trump might have been behind that too. But these child pageants, okay? Have you seen these little girls? They're like 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, and they look like they have so much makeup on.
They look Barbie dolls.
Yes, you want to talk about sexualization of children, okay? Performing in front of children. Listen, I'm kind of, I have to say that I can meet them in the middle and understand why we would want, if children are going to be in the audience, to like make it PG. We have PG movies. Let's make PG like drag shows if children are going to be in the audience.
Spaghetti.
Okay, but that's not what we're talking about
so
here.
Adorable.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, we're not talking about that. So it's just these people. They're right now. They're just, everything is kind of merging together, and they don't know.
Remember Bugs Bunny? Like he would dress up in drag.
And
what's opera doc?
You know, it's been around forever.
You know, before we move on to another entertainment story, I have never watched 5 seconds of Peppa Pig or Peppa's Pig. It's so, can't we just leave this to the 5-year-olds and be done with it? No, because they want to get involved in your life in every single way, want to get in bed with you. And I just, as you were doing this story, I was sitting thinking about listening to Anna Navarro Saturday night at the Save. And she basically does the illustration, wait, we're going to take relationship and marriage advice from people like Donald Trump and other conservatives. Donald cheated on his first wife with his second wife.
And
he
with his
cheated
third.
with his second wife for the third wife, and then cheated on the third wife with an adult porn star.
Yeah.
And we're going to take advice from somebody
Hypocrisy.
like this.
And he sexualized his daughter Ivanka.
Right.
So clearly, clearly. Let's. Can't we just leave Peppa alone?
And Big Bird and the Muppets.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on to some Disney news.
Okay. Disney's D23 Expo announces the LGBTQ news of what's coming next. Disney's biannual D23 Expo 2022 was held last week, where Disney announced many big projects coming up for Marvel, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney Plus, Pixar, Disney Animation, and more. Every time D23 comes around, there's lots of excitement around it, and this year wasn't any different. Some of the shows announced in D23 include Akosha, Wish, Willow, High School Musical, the series, which has season 4 coming. Then there was an announcement about Loki, season 2, where it was revealed that Everything Everywhere All at Once star Ki Yoi Kwan will be joining the cast, and that picks up with Loki finding himself in a battle for the soul of the Time Variance Authority. Disney has announced The Proud Family Louder and Prouder, Season 2. The trailer of the season comes for the family going to the rodeo, a Disney princess-themed dance, a gymnastics competition, and a protest against police. Apart from the above shows, Disney fans can also expect Season 6 of Raven's Home and other shows including Best in Snow, Haunted Mansion, Willow, and Strange World. While Disney lovers didn't hear new announcements about gay MCU heroes or trans Disney princesses, the announcement was made about lots of projects starring some of your favorite queer stars. Now, I am so glad and I applaud them, in any kind of inclusion. And also, you have Tiana's Bayou, which is going to replace Splash Mountain. From Princess and the Frog, right? And then you have The Little Mermaid. They just showed the trailer, which was a black Ariel. And I think that's great, wonderful inclusion. Where is the LGBTQ plus inclusion, though, where a main character is where a gay character is the main character in it? Where is the Disney Prince movie where there's a gay Disney prince? Make it, Disney. Do it.
Aren't they all gay?
In a tongue-in-cheek way, the main gay character is called the Walt Disney Company. That's the gayness of everything that Disney represents.
Hence the attack from Ron DeSantis, right?
Exactly. Right.
And then can you imagine the conservatives who were going after Peppa Pig, going after the Proud Family because one of the episodes are going to a police protest? Yeah. It's like, but of that list, I think I'm most excited about queer Oscar winner, Ariana DeBose's Wish Project. Yeah. And then Titus Burgess is going to be hosting that Best in Snow. So it actually might make winter more bearable.
I'm curious, you do so much entertainment reporting for so many media outlets. Am I a bad gay when I listen to this entire story and think about the D23 and then I just have a giant yawn? Am I a bad gay?
I wanted to say bad gay. No, you're exactly right. I thought it lacked. They didn't have any announcements beyond the Tron and which took 5 years to build and it's still not open. And the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which did open, but when you look at everything Universal's doing.
Right, but maybe you're not other than having Ariana DeBose hosting something on Titus Burgess, maybe you're not the target audience for that. I mean, no, I don't mean, neither am I, no.
Help me on this. Could you translate
a
little?
No, but I'm just saying that
you can come with me.
Anybody can watch this stuff, but I think it really is geared towards, there was a certain demographic.
I'm really down with the fetishy, Loki. You know what I mean? I really enjoy that.
Yeah,
would it surprise you on your observation there that I also have a big, gigantic yawn? The one last thing, though, is I bet D23 next year is going to be really humongous. And you know why? because Universal's new theme park is on the horizon, and Disney's got to.
Wow.
But I have to be fair. I mean, I was a lifelong Disney pass holder for years, and I did the gay days for God knows how many years. In the time when it wasn't gay days, official. And now, in the last 5 or 6 years, we've gone from. I think Disney has gone a huge step in the political minefield that they're now in. That they've been able to grow, and I do see gay main characters coming up, male and female, in the future. But it's like, come on, we've gone a lot in 5 or 6 years.
Sure. It's because of paycheck. I mean, paycheck.
And that might be, but I still think we need to pat our support where we can get it.
Thank you, for sure.
I'm not so excited about D23, but I'm excited about Little Nas.
Yeah, I'm sure. And now I'll help you with that as we queer up the USA view. Lil Nas X makes runway debut at New York Fashion Week for Coach. The global pop superstar Lil Nas X made his fashion show runway debut when he walked in Coach's Spring/Summer 23 fashion show in New York City. As a part of New York Fashion Week, Coach revealed its Spring/Summer line by Stuart Vevers, featuring lots of black, lots of earth tones, lots of leather, and lots of Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X also made his fashion runway debut by walking in the show towards the end. With his hair in long braids and dressed in leather shorts and a leather vest, Nas owned the runway. He even led the show's finale. Coach made an announcement of a collaboration with Lil Nas X on a custom tour wardrobe for his first ever headlining tour that kicked off yesterday, with Nas wearing 6 bespoke looks that combined his own personal style with the classic look of Coach. He wore a gilded gladiator suit, a reimagination of American Western wear with plenty of leather, and an American varsity football uniform covered in crystals and pink. Lil Nas X will be on his Long Live Montero tour through November 2022 in various cities across America and Europe. What can't Lil Nas X do? He's even a star on the runway. What a doll.
Yeah, it's cute.
Well, all I have to say is you better. It was really, it's cool. You know, I like how he's having fun with it. You know, if I was Lil Nas, I'd be doing whatever I could. YOLO, you know what I mean? And it's like,
and he's young, right?
I don't want to put too much politics on this decision, but you know, one of the great things about this corporate decision, of course, Coach doesn't, and especially in New York Fashion Week, doesn't really have to worry about the conservative set, but the corporate brand does.
Right.
And for any corporate brand to embrace Lil Nas X as endorsement is pretty risky because he's out there in music video and conversation, pushing envelopes left and right. And he's going, I don't give a damn what you think about my sex life or who I'm doing or how many I'm doing or how I'm doing it or anything.
He's like the first artist, like, you know, Elton John was probably the first one to come out and go, okay, I'm gay. But, you know, be yourself entirely.
Wait, it's a complete different animal. Lil Nas, Elton John hiding his gayness for a long time and then going, I'm gay, and doing the Lion King and Broadway musical. Broadway music is, and we, of course, we love Elton John.
And those were different times.
It's different times. Is completely different than what Lil Nas is.
True. Yes.
Lil Nas is whipping his dick out and smacking you in the face.
But at the same point, with the competition of fashion at this level, Coach is doing what Fashion Week is about. Getting their name in front of the TV, getting their name in front of the next generation that's
an
shopping.
Interesting observation because Coach is taking an antithetical corporate big picture kind of thing of we must be conservative, we don't want criticism.
We just got out of a pandemic. People didn't shop. Now it's time to start shopping and spending, and they want that younger generation.
They put their money behind him, which is wonderful. I just wonder, like, did anyone, like for instance, Sam Smith, okay, when you first heard him, saw him, did you think he was gay?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Gay card suspended. One last thing about Coach, I think is interesting of how the spoken word can affect a brand. I'm not a Coach person, But I'm not a Coach person because Kathy Griffin convinced me not to be a Coach person, because I will never forget one of the brilliant stand-up specials that she did. She was talking about how she loves Gucci. Gucci, 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 Gucci. And she would make jokes and pronounce Gucci in very offensive ways. And that she was in a Gucci on Rodeo Drive. And this woman came in with her friend into Gucci, and she bitched and moaned and complained about every display that Gucci had. And Kathy Griffin finally turned to her and said, "Madam, Coach is down the street."
Oh, that's not fair to Coach.
That is the best hateful, shady read ever. Sorry, Coach. For me, you never recovered. Sorry. All right, let's move on. We're going to queer up drag culture. Tough story here. Boise Pride over the weekend canceled their drag kids after receiving death threats.
In a statement, Zions Bank, the first sponsor to pull from the event, saying they previously supported the Pride Festival as it is an important way to support LGBTQ employees, but they committed to sponsorship before they were aware of the children's activities.
Idaho Power, meantime, today issuing a statement saying they pulled due to programming changes after they signed on as sponsors, but say they, quote, continue to support our diverse communities.
The latest to withdraw involvement, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare pulled support from Project Filter and the Idaho HIV, STD, and Hepatitis Prevention Care Program. The department saying they support LGBTQ plus Idahoans, but this year's Pride event has caused confusion over whether the department endorses activities involving minors.
The event will have an increased private security presence this year. Boise police will also be on hand at the event, as they are at any large downtown gathering. As is standard procedure, they've worked with organizers to develop security plans and address any concerns. Safety, a community concern, and police ask if you see something, say something so they can properly respond.
Organizers of this weekend's Boise Pride event in Idaho had to cancel a half-hour Drag Kids event after the producers started receiving death threats. Idaho Republican Party chairwoman Dorothy Moon said that the Pride event's sponsors were, quote, financing the sexualization of our children and the perverse idea that children should engage in sexual performances with adult entertainers, end quote. The party's official Twitter page reflected similar views. The state GOP also encouraged people to pressure the festival's corporate sponsors. Boise Pride wrote a statement defending the event, saying that the Drag Kids performance is a celebration of self-expression and confidence. Pride organizers stated that children have performed in different Pride events before, which builds their confidence, and it is a form of creative expression for them. Even the festival president, Michael Dale, said that the level of opposition he saw against the event is far from normal. The 5 children who had signed up to perform had said they still wanted to perform irrespective of the drama surrounding the show. However, Boise Pride canceled the event and hired extra security concerning the well-being of the kids and the safety of all the Pride attendees. Child-friendly drag shows have become a political issue nationwide as Republicans have increasingly accused drag performers and LGBTQ educators of sexualizing children. Well, very strange issue going on. Well, one of my first questions related to this is, would it be offensive in the LGBTQ community? Idaho is Idaho, first off. Boise is Boise. It's the panhandle of Florida, and maybe even worse in terms of its perspective of progressive thinking, LGBT embracement, etc. Do you find it offensive if I advocate in the opposite in exploring this? What the hell was Boise Pride thinking of doing an event like this? Is that even that question offensive? What do you think about? They shouldn't have done it.
It's not offensive to me because it's in my mind, when you create a nonprofit event like a Pride event, and I have to give you my history. I helped run the gay rodeo here for 7 years. We raised money for children's events.
I love the gay rodeo.
Well, everyone did, except the people who wanted to sponsor us. But that's a different story. Right. But the point is that in the event, we made sure that while we were sponsoring children's events, we didn't get too strange with the kids. And I don't mean strange in a weird way. I'm just like, we wanted to make this as family friendly as possible so we would not have the politicians screaming at us. Not that we wouldn't like the television coverage of that, but we went out of our way to say, where's that sweet spot where we win, we make as much money as we can, we entertain people as much as we can, and we raise money for the kids, because this is about raising money. It's not about
And your
politics.
point is you don't think Boise did that?
I don't think Boise did that. I think by having that one little event, they've kind of soured the rest of the event, and now they've put it on the map for trouble. You know, now you have to have extra security. You're in Idaho, where gun carrying laws are different, and the right to carry guns, concealed weapons, is evident.
And let me ask the question in another way, and I feel obligation to help propel at least the examination of this. In the environment of 2022, with what the Republicans are doing, approaching a midterm election, using groomers as the catchphrase in America, why would Boise Pride fall prey?
How did they miss out on the news? How had they not seen what was happening in all these, right?
How did they not know their audience?
Well,
You hear me say that all the time. You know, you hear me say this all the time. It's like, why are we engaging in the fight? Because what it is it's us saying that we're right. We're going to do whatever we want to do because we're here, we're queer, and we're not going anywhere. And I get that mentality, but right now is not the time when you're you're putting yourself in danger. And then on top of that, you're bringing bad press to a conversation that we can have, but it doesn't need to be had like this. And we are falling prey to using children as a pawn in a sick game, really.
Well,
and if I have to be like hard on, we have to be smarter than that.
Right. And the fact that this festival happened so late in the season, when all these other prides and the drag queen reading hours, all these things have been interrupted. How did they miss that? That's an important question.
They weren't reading the room.
No,
no. But I have to say, anything they do, they're trying to dehumanize us. They're trying to degrade us. They're trying to...
Right, but don't give them the ammunition to sit there and make it something that it's not. These children in drag queens are not necessarily sexualized. They can be, but a lot of it is comedy. A lot of it
But
is
what about Halloween?
entertainment.
I mean, they dress up for Halloween.
I get that, but that's not the point here.
Okay.
Because it's a gay event.
Right.
We're grooming.
I believe that was a CBS report in Boise, and I cringed through that report. Regardless of which side you are, there's two sides.
Right.
The other side clearly is a ridiculous position. But I cringed because you can feel and read between the lines the Zion Bank going, you know, we support diversity, but we can't support
it's
this.
Bad media public.
And we can't be involved in a situation where the optics of this, there's nothing wrong with it, nothing.
No.
But the optics of this in the current environment means, can we not have a Pride Festival and not do this? And that sponsor is saying, well, we can't participate then if you're not willing to make those choices.
And you've also challenged next year's and the years after and the year after.
Because unless you prove that you're not going to be
Well, it's also, I agree, they made a mistake in judgment. But it's a slippery slope to, then saying, it's not about trans anymore. It's not about this. It's about the spectrum of gay people. Well, we don't think Pride should exist at all.
No, so
and then the
I
next
hear what
thing
you're
is
saying. I absolutely hear what you're saying, but that's exactly where we're missing the mark. We're missing the mark because there's children involved, and everyone and their mothers are very sensitive about minors. And it's not just LGBTQ, it's all minors across the board. So we as stewards, as adults, as a society of civilized human beings who protect children, we have to think like that. And we have to then put the safety of children. I don't agree that there is sexualization happening, but again, not the topic. The point is why did we choose to be and press and feature children in drag?
It was a
Why
bad idea.
Why do we put the target on our asses?
Yeah.
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah. And I think you got to it in the first sentences. And it's something that our community has to examine because we want to.
Yes.
And if we want to, we have to accept all of the consequences of our want.
But we also have to remember that in our growth as a community, in our political growth, in our personal growth, this is a business as much as it is anything else, and we have to think about the optics of how it shows. We have to talk. We have to be consistent with our language. When we talk about gay marriage, it's not about the religious aspects of marriage. It's about the human aspects, hospitalization visits, medical. So we have to think about that with children too.
But they're lying about us. They're saying that we are.
So don't give them any more. Don't give them any more ammunition, and continue the conversation.
You know, it's
to prove
interesting
it.
to the point, because I agree with Josie. I'm hearing the observation you're making. I talk about, I give an illustration about pedophiles. We have fought for 40 years that gay men are pedophiles. We have fought that stereotype. Anita Bryant until the pie in the face. We fought, we're pedophiles, we're pedophiles, we're pedophiles. And then we have fought that, it's a lie. It is a complete lie. And how we fought that lie was statistical fact. In the 98 to 99% of all pedophile incidents in America are straight
men.
Heterosexual.
And but that does not mean that we can't or we can stop fighting it, because the misrepresentation keeps being said over and over and over, and we fight it with facts and more here and come along with this. That's the point that you're making.
But how do you fight the demonization?
Well, first, you don't do the event.
Right. You don't feed them
this
the
environment
ammunition.
at this.
Okay, let's put that aside and say, okay, it was a bad idea to do the kids drag, right? But how do you fight the demonization of the groomer label and the pedo label? How do you fight that?
You win elections. We get out and focus on what's really important.
But not only that, you prove the good things that we are as a community. You point out how normal we are. We just like with the Lizzo story, where there's room at the table for all of these shows. We have shows that talk about regular lives.
You know, South Florida Boys of Leather used to do Kids in Distress, the annual
donated
Christmas.
money.
Yeah.
But you didn't have children lined up in leather.
No.
No, we did a puppet show for them, but
that's a different story.
That's true.
Drag is certainly an issue. We're fighting right along with our house, for example, here in South Florida.
Yes.
There are some good stories about drag.
Yeah.
You tell us one of them.
Well, we're going to queer up the drag culture next, and this is a fun story. Dragula Titans is announced by Boulet brothers.
Hello, uglies. Does anyone know why we're here? You each have a 1 in 10 chance of taking home a $100,000 grand prize.
And may the best monster win. It's my fault for letting you control me.
It is not time to let somebody upstage you.
You two are so nasty that y'all were plotting against her.
I can't wait to share my judgments.
You are in the bottom because of your look. What a hideous outfit. It was like you were dressed to go to the thrift store.
We have a little fun planned for you right now.
Hit me, bitch. Hit me.
Let's rip her throat out.
You are looking very cheap, baby. Yeah, I can do that too. Wow.
Some bullshit.
Feast on your right fish.
I'm so into blood right now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so your favorite drag monsters are coming back to compete in the first ever season of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans. The season will have a 2-episode premiere on October 25th on both Shudder and AMC+, and a total of 10 episodes are planned in subsequent weeks. The season has recently signed a new deal with AMC Shudder to expand the Dragula franchise, and the first spinoff is Dragula Titans. The Boulet brothers issued a statement saying that the company wanted the show to feel familiar to fans and wanted the set and format to feel elevated from a regular season in order to match the incredible talent of the artists they have on the show. The company is excited for fans to watch the show, which is going to be full of shocking twists and turns. It claims that the show is the most compelling content the company has created to date. The cast of returning drag monsters who will be competing on Dragula Titans are still being kept under wraps. However, the release touts that the spinoff will feature, quote, some of the most popular drag icons. end quote, from the show's previous seasons. Though the cast list is still unknown, a list of guest judges is revealed, and the list includes Elvira, Harvey Guillen, Justin Simeon, David Dastamalchian, Poppy, Alaska, Katya, Joe Bob Briggs, Bonnie Aarons, and Barbara Crampton. Ooh, this looks so much fun. I can't even
This is
wait.
right up
This
my
is
alley.
like right up my alley,
Yeah.
you know?
Sorry, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, but everything I just saw on the screen was screaming to
Horror
my
and
inner,
drag.
to my inner self. So
It's like horror and
Has
drag.
anybody followed the show?
This is the first I've heard of the show.
Yeah, it's kind of an unknown gem. It's really good. It's really, really good. Someone who knows a lot about RuPaul's Drag Race, when I saw it, I thought, wait, this is just a terrible ripoff. And I was completely wrong, because it's not RuPaul's Drag Race. Just because it's drag queens doesn't mean it's
So what's it a combination of?
Well, it follows the platform of most of the reality shows.
Right.
You know, it's hard to reinvent the platform for reality. But it says beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as opposed to being spectacularly beautiful.
So it's like a little bit of Lady Gaga, a little bit of RuPaul, a little
it's like
bit of
Face Off, Glow Up, RuPaul, you know?
a little of Jason and
Oh my God.
Michael Myers and
I
all
love
kinds
it. I love it.
Well, I know I'm in the minority, but I, for one, wish the Boulets would sashay away.
Really? Why?
Because I wrote about, they did a movie a couple years ago, and I'm like, I'm not a fan. I'm not sold.
You're not a fan of the Boulet brothers?
Of the Boulet brothers.
And why? Have you ever watched?
Well, I watched this. There was a movie that they had done that I wrote about, but I'm not a fan.
But I'm talking about the AMC Shudder series. Have you ever watched
I have
any
not
of
seen
it?
that.
So you're dismissing the entire thing because
based on
Donald
what I've
Trump
seen.
didn't get what you.
No. I have better.
Al was giving
I have
shade.
better hair than Donald Trump.
That's bad drag.
All right.
Yeah.
But any horror to me, I watch. Just about any B movie.
All right, Dave, we're going to talk about Sunshine.
Okay, next we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Sponsoring that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
I'm Nick Matheny from the University of Miami, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ+ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ+ news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Chef Josie, Gregg Shapiro, Buddy Frey, and Dave Mann. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you
good night.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the